Alrighty, so what if I told you that there are people who believe that you'll just get arrested for preaching the gospel? Well, you wouldn't be surprised. You're over here on this side of the internet after all, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way. That said, fan art, and then let's go ahead and look at this crazy story specifically. It's not as crazy as it sounds when you actually get into the meat of it, but it's crazy when it's shown in a certain light. Anyway, the first bit of fan art we have here is from Avery Transallosaurus. Said, I put in a redacted NFT where it belongs in jail chan. I'm still horrible like my original 2 drawer. I don't know if I'll make any more, but here, well, fair enough. There is an NFT behind bars. Then we have one more piece of fan art, and this one is from Dog. Me, a slime Suris version of me going, it's a nice dress, but is it really me? No, Suris, this dress is really you. You're wearing me now. All fan art, don't you say it, is canon, Suris. Yeah, all fan art is canon. All fan art is canon. That is a mistake that I've made over the years. But, here we are now. What are you gonna do? Anyways. Going back to flesh cam. The only reason you get arrested for preaching is if you're trespassing while doing so. Wait till you see what we got here. So, as always, thank you for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. That all said, you know what? Heck it, before we get into the main video itself, like, subscribe, share to friends. Cool. We've done the stuff that matters. DSM2OT, thank you very much for the follow. So here we have Isabella Maria DeLuca, a 368,000 follower account, letting everybody know that, Beverlyn B.D. Williams has just been sentenced to 3 years in a federal prison for preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ in front of an abortion clinic. This is an attack on our faith. Please pray for Beverlyn, her husband, and their young daughter as they faced the most darkest of days. Most darkest? I don't know if most darkest? Anyway, this injustice must end immediately. You know, that's a really damning claim. It would be horrible if that happened. There's even a fundraiser here. Yeah, this is her give, send, go. Support her fight for freedom. Kevin Thomas going in here. This is awful. Can we blow this story up? It needs to go viral. It needs to go. It has to be viral. Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the United States, like the .gov website, actually has information on this that is pertinent to the situation? Let's go ahead and read it here. Damian Williams, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, announced today that Beverlyn B.D. Williams was sentenced to 41 months in prison for violating the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. So she lied. That's where we're at, everybody. Isabella lied. Oh, that's so cool. God. What a wonderful world to live in. A right-winger on the internet lying about something involving abortion? It must be a day that ends in Y. Geez, so weird. Anyway, let's continue on here. In June 2020, she did this in connection with her interference, including by threats and force, with individuals seeking to obtain and provide lawful reproductive health services at a reproductive health center in Manhattan. This bitch did this in New York? Oh, honey, what the fuck is wrong with your brain? New York City? That's where you decided to do this? Really? I feel sorry for your kids. Their mother is a moron. On February 22, 2024, Williams was convicted after a 9-day jury trial of 1 count of violating the FACE Act before U.S. District Judge Jennifer L. Rashawn, who imposed today's sentence. The quote here says, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said Bevelyn Beatty Williams repeatedly intimidated and interfered with individuals seeking and providing critical reproductive health services. She did so by physically blocking access to clinics, threatening staff, and by force. This office and our law enforcement partners are committed to ensuring that patients exercising their legal right to obtain reproductive health services and healthcare facilities and their staff providing those services can do so without unlawful interference and violence. That is damning. Again, for the child involved, who I'm sure is very, very upset that their mother is in prison for 3 years, I'm sorry, but again, this is a woman who decided in liberal Manhattan, New York, of all places, that she was going to go and try to, again, by force, stop people from getting into an abortion clinic, harass staff at the abortion clinic, do everything in her power to try to threaten the people who went to the abortion clinic. I am not a believer in our current justice system, nor in our current prison system. I think that they all need great amounts of reform. But as they are the only option that we have, how would you stop somebody like this from doing more of this bullshit in the future? This is really the only option that you have at the moment, outside of giving, I don't know, abortion clinic staff tasers. Tasers for staffers? Is that what we need to do now to keep people from doing this kind of bullshit? According to evidence admitted at trial and other public findings and statements made in court, on June 19th, 2020 and June 20th, 2020, Williams threatened and used force against patients and staff members at a reproductive health center located in Lower Manhattan and blocked patients and staff members from accessing the health center. In one instance, as captured on video, Williams pressed her body against the door of a health center's patient entrance and refused to move, preventing a health center volunteer from entering the health center. As a health center staff member, Victim 1 attempted to open the door for the volunteer. Williams perfectly leaned against the door, crushing Victim 1's hand. Victim 1 yelled, "She's crushing my hand," but Williams remained against the door, trapping her hand and injuring it. So the correct response would have been a crowbar. At various times on June 19th and 20th, 2020, Williams stood directly in front of health center entrances. Williams initially blocked the main entrance used by patients, causing the health center to have to divert patients to enter through the staff entrance. Williams responded by moving to block the staff entrance and directing others to do the same. Now, when I say the response should have been a crowbar, those of you who are going to try to decry violence, I'm going to respond with self-defense is not violence in a legal way. If somebody is doing something that is actively harming you, you are allowed to do whatever is necessary to get them to stop. Whatever that happens to be. If somebody is actively crushing your hand, you are allowed in many states to stand your ground and assault them back with something like a taser or something you have physically on your person in order to get them away from you so that they stop harming you. Self-defense is an okay thing, and I will always advocate for the use of self-defense when you are in a situation where it is important. And in here, we have an obvious situation where self-defense was incredibly important. Somebody's hand was being fucking crushed by this woman. At various times on June 19th and 20th, Williams stood directly in front of the healthcare entrances. Williams initially blocked the main entrance. Okay, we already went through that. Williams live streamed some of her conduct on June 19th and 20th on a social media account. Honey, no! Why would you do that? Why on Dog's green earth would you film yourself violating the law? Are people stupid these days? On the live stream on June 19th, Williams stood within inches of the health chief's administrative officer and threatened to terrorize this place and warned, "We're gonna terrorize you so good, your business is going to be over, mama." I don't know what voice to do for that. I thought to do like Tristan's voice for a second, but it's a woman. And I don't think we want to do this right now. This isn't the Venture Brothers. Similarly, Williams stood within inches of a healthcare security officer and threatened war. Williams also said that she would act by any means necessary. In addition to Williams' conduct in Manhattan on many other occasions from at least 2019 to 2022, Williams and others intimidated and interfered with individuals seeking to obtain our reproductive health services at other health clinics across the country, including in Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, and Brooklyn, and New York. She ran everywhere to do this. This woman was a serial, abortion hater. For example, in January 2022, Williams traveled to a health center at Fort Myers, Florida, where she directed other individuals to block healthcare entrances. As a result of the blockade, medical staff was delayed in treating at least a dozen patients, 3 of whom were scheduled for time-sensitive procedures that could have resulted in bleeding, infection, or significant pain without any timely treatment. So, if somebody is actively blocking a hospital or a healthcare clinic or anything like that, I'm not allowed to tell you what you should do on this platform, but self-defense is a really cool thing, and if somebody is actively getting in the way of a loved one getting a procedure that needs done, then maybe it would be a good idea for you to remove them from the premises so that your loved one can get a procedure and doesn't die of a fucking infection. You're not doing lawful protest at that point. You're actively stopping somebody from getting medical care. And I know there's going to be somebody who's going to be like, what about the climate activists who sit in the road? Right, so the climate activists who sit in the road are usually not actively stopping somebody from getting to a hospital. We don't have a lot of cases of that happening specifically. Otherwise, it would have been all over the goddamn news. That said, myth of that vehicle thing out of the way. In January 2022, Fort Myers, Florida, directed other individuals to block it. Let's see here. She invaded a health clinic in Atlanta, Georgia, where she screamed through the door at patients attempting to enter the facility until they were forced to leave. This woman's a psychopath. Among other things, Williams shouted that she would go to jail before letting parents enter the facility for abortion, that she was not afraid to get arrested. Well, I'm glad you weren't afraid to get arrested. Obviously, you have faced that now. That is unfortunate. In addition to the prison term, Williams of 33, she's as old as me. I am 32. How is this woman this dumb? In addition to the prison term, she was sentenced to 2 years of supervised release. She praised, Mr. Williams praised the outstanding work of the FBI. The prosecution in this case is being handled by the office's Civil Rights Unit in the Criminal Division. Assistant Attorneys General Emily A. Johnson, Mitzi Steiner, and James Baglabater, with the assistance of paralegal specialist Isabel Loftus, are in charge of the prosecution. So we're going to do this fun thing where we get to go to Isabel's post and do this part here. So she's a liar. Got it. And I suggest any of you who are watching this silly campaign to try to get a woman who psychopathically went state to state to actively harm people seeking medical care, maybe it would be a good idea to also allow this serial fact-checking to go forward. That said, that's this whole situation. Let me know what you think. I've given my opinion here. I think this is ridiculously horrible behavior. Let me know what y'all think. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to make your friend's day worse, I guess send this video to them. Insert in the video tagline here. Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability that Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.